Salut tout le monde, I'm your host Alistair. On this channel I try to talk about money and life and everything else. I do try to have diverse content and topic of discussions. Now the inspiration of those topics usually come from regular interactions with people in my regular life. And after you converse, you're like, oh yeah, that's a nice topic. And I come back here and I give you a gist of a few things. So important rules of life. The first rule really is the rule of mindfulness. And I think a lot of people underestimate how unpassive being mindful is. It's something you have to actively participate in. For example, you truly are what you think and who you say you are. There is power in that perception. Another thing also is that if you are a negative person, there is no way you're going to attract positivity. I can tell you that right now, because positive people don't want to be around negative people. So there is a correlation between your state of mind and how your life is. If you are constantly the person who complains all the time, not just to your peers, but like even to yourself, like wah, 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 wah. The outcome is that you're going to end up being around nothing but negativity, and it creates an echo chamber, because positive people don't want to deal with that mess, and they're not going to gravitate towards you. And the rule of mindfulness also applies to other aspects of your life. How do you expect to achieve something if you don't believe you can? Right? If you keep saying to yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to make it, and that's not going to work, I don't want to start a business because everybody has the same business, this space is too saturated, now that's not for me, then it is not for you. It's not for you. You cannot expect something to come into your lap. And so if you don't believe it, then I'm not going to believe it for you. Right? Because, again, it comes back to negativity. Positive people don't hang out with people who are negative. I can tell you that right now. Actually, matter of fact, people who are positive or who are striving to get this stuff in order, negativity irritates them. You actually bring them down and they are very quick to cut you off. The rule of sacrifice. You can get whatever you want. You could do whatever you want, for as long as you're willing to pay the consequences or to assume the responsibility or enjoy the fruits of the labor. And that's what the rule of sacrifice is that in order to get to one point, you have to make the necessary steps to get to it. It's not magic. There is no magic. And the rule of sacrifice says, if you want something, you have to give up something. You cannot have it all. You cannot have it all, especially at the same time. And you cannot have it all whenever you feel like you want to have it all. There's a give and take. You want to be a billionaire, here's what you have to do. You want to save for the house you want to buy, here's what you have to do. If you don't sit there and comprehend that sacrifice is needed, or a form of sacrifice is needed to get you to change, then you don't understand how life works. And then you really need to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. A truthful conversation with yourself. The rule of happiness. Just like the first point, the rule of mindfulness, happiness is something you have to actively partake in. And the reason why is because life and our society as we know it is not designed to make you comfortable. Happiness can be equated to comfortability. That's not what life is. You have to go to work. You have to pay your bills. You have to deal with people who are really annoying. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. You have to be the CEO, CFO, get new clients. You have to work. That's not enjoyable. Everyone wants to lay on the beach, collect passive income, and be super rich. That's why people fall into the trap of buying these stupid webinars stupid courses without any understanding that you are the demography. You will never get there like that. You can't please everyone. And everybody is going to look at you and expect you to be in an image that they'd rather see you in. Everyone who looks at you is going to put you in a specific box that fits their view. And that is a problem because you are not one-dimensional. You have many facets to yourself. And what's going to happen is that if you start catering to the box that people put you in, you're going to be super unhappy because you can't please everyone. Your mother is going to want you to live a certain life that she thinks is right for you. That's what parents do. Your friends are going to be exigent of a certain lifestyle. Your church, your politics, everybody's going to put you in a box. But here's the thing. What do you want? You have to create what that box is for you. And the box, because you are an individual, has many facades. It's many boxes. You have to define what those boxes are, and you have to be true to yourself. And the rule of happiness is you cannot please everyone. You're going to alienate people. You're going to harm people. You're going to hurt people who want to see you in a different box. But you cannot let that happen because that will infringe on your mental clarity and your happiness. Do not be afraid. In fact, I encourage it. Disappoint everybody that is necessary for you not to disappoint yourself. That includes your mother, your father, your siblings, your coworker. Have conditions for your children and your spouse. But anybody else, work your hardest to not disappoint yourself. First, understand that your parents, my parents, people don't transfer knowledge that they don't know. So there is real value in absorbing and understanding what you already know or what you need to know. Let me just make more sense. Investing is what? Is an increase in value. That's the main goal. Now, that value in the word investing is subjective. It could be money, it could be knowledge, it could be whatever you need it to be. But the rule is very simple. The first step is if you want to increase in value, if you want to jump from one point to the other, you need to spend time in yourself. You need to invest in yourself to understand what the next step is going to be. So you need to be able to be creative enough to have a thought, an idea, and then invest in increasing the knowledge base. But there's a caveat, because I say this all the time. We live in a digital age where information is plenty and free. You don't need self-help books. You don't need to go get seminars. You don't need to go buy that course. You don't need any of that. Because most of the basic knowledge is out there for you to consume. You're just too lazy to do it. Take some time. Educate yourself in the basic and the foundations. Then work on your first step. If you have a blockage, then seek the knowledge. That's how it works. That's how it works. Being a skeptic is the most important safeguard when it comes to the rule of investing. Ask questions. Be skeptical. Don't just say yes to everything that is given to you. Be curious. What I mentioned to you up to this point, it takes effort. And the rule of effort tells us what? Change is inevitable. You have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And the second thing is, when it comes to the rule of effort, is that the best time to prepare for bad times is during good times. So when things are comfortable, too comfortable, you should have a red bell ringing into your head to be like, okay, why is everything too comfortable? Start looking and analyzing and prepare. That's the rule of change. Change is a constant. It's part of the human condition. You cannot stop change. You and I will die one day. That is inevitable, right? Our bodies will change. That is inevitable. The rule of luck. I've always said that Lady Luck is a lazy woman. She's not interested in helping you or doing anything at all. Serendipity doesn't exist. Coincidences doesn't really exist. Luck, on the other hand, is very, very specific. But let me rephrase this a little bit, because if you don't understand that when it comes to luck, it's actually something you've worked for. Positioning yourself in a certain situation to reap the rewards, I call it more being opportunity ready, a lot more than what people might call it luck. For example, the opportunity to be in front of an investor to pitch your idea. Yeah, maybe that's luck, but not really. Because there's a lot of processes beforehand that allowed you to snatch the opportunity that came. Opportunity happens to us all the time. And that's why I never fret if I don't make a deal, if I lose a deal, it's okay. There's many more opportunities that will come my way. You just have to be ready to snatch it. And that's what the rule of luck is that you have to do the work to get yourself positioned to jump on the opportunity. That's luck. Not anything else. No other way around. No, is when you are able to activate the opportunity that happened to fall on your lap. It's a lot less passive than you think. Your children never have to doubt you. It's the only time in the entirety of your life where you don't have to worry about proving yourself to someone. Your children trust you no matter what. And so it's important to cherish that trust, because if that trust is broken, you have just created a potential trauma for your kids. Say what you're going to say, do what you're going to do, have the utmost integrity. The important point when it comes to the rule of family is that an affair destroys everything. An affair shatters the long-term view perception of the household. You might not realize it, but a household is called a household unit because it's one unit among many other floating around our society and life. And every unit tries its best to maintain the float so they don't just sink in the bottom of the ocean. When you have an affair, you just made a hole into that float. And the long-term vision gets lost. And the trust gets shattered. It is an absolute monumental atomic bomb for the household. Trust is not negotiable. But you know what else is also not negotiable? In conjunction to everything we just talked about, change. Because the drivers of the household unit, as you evolve, you will change. It's important you stay in communication with your spouse so you're both on the same page and you're both happy and both solid, because the boat, the household unit, is going to have patchwork that needs to be done on the boat so it doesn't sink. You need to be in sync, on the same page, to fix the boat as it grows bigger and stronger and better. Trust is not negotiable, but change needs to be addressed. Ignoring change will eventually lead to the boat sinking. Rules of family. And the last one is the rules of being human. I think that goes without saying that part of the human experience is to be different, is to have mess up, is to have a spectrum of facade, is to have the margin of error. And I think way too many often do people associate their celebrity, politicians, friends with the idea that they are perfect, that they are unable to do any wrong. And that is an example of a deep-rooted, unresolved trauma that the person you look up to can never fill that void. We're not perfect. Expecting exact perfection, expecting people to not offend you, expecting people to always be happy, expecting people to always do what you say or how you think. It's just not being human and realistic. As a final thought, I think what's important also is that fear is an important emotion. But every time you're trying to do something different, every time you're trying to do something progressive, there will be fear. That's just part of it. And fear is an emotion that was evolved because it is what kept us safe. Fear allows us to stay in us comfortable. It allows us to be safe. But sometimes you have to jump off the bridge and land in the water. Sometimes you have to take the leap of faith because the other side is better for the household. And so it's important not to cater too much to the fear and always have the conversation with yourself. Is this fear warranted? What is the bigger picture? What is the long-term goal? Where am I going? Where am I currently? How are we doing? Self-awareness is a skill. It's not innate. Self-awareness and self-reflection is not innate. It is a skill. And like all skills, you have to continuously practice it. Otherwise, you get bad at it. You get worse at it. You have to continuously be self-aware. And that allows you to decipher if that fear is warranted or if it's time to take the fear into bravery and into action. Anyway, thank you so much. Like, subscribe. I am your host, Alistair.